His one brain cell, you mean?
Oh, true, yeah.
And now we're
It's
live.
not one brain, it's one
We're
brain
live.
cell.
It's enough brain cells for me.
They're
okay?
talking Fire Emblem. I'm sorry for this. So hello everyone
Hello.
and welcome
Hello.
to episode
Everyone knows
32.
I'm thirsty for Fire Emblem. That's literally no joke. So.
Okay, that is accurate.
At least I've converted a little over to not sports, but it's still kind of sporty because they're killing shit with weapons. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what kind of sports are you watching, Sarah?
Lancing and jousting.
Okay.
It's a sport.
Well, hello everyone and welcome to episode 32 of Cosplay Photo Critique. Sorry we took a little bit of a unintended hiatus over the summer. Life happened, and I don't know. That's about all I got for you there. Life happened. So, but we're back at it. And hopefully we will be pretty consistent from here on out. I can't totally promise that, but let's see. We'll see. We've got a couple guests in the lineup. I've got one that I'm pretty excited about. We don't have solid dates yet, but we should be kind of getting back onto like the every other week schedule. So
I'm tired and old, you guys.
yeah, that's also accurate.
Sorry.
Yeah, summer was freaking busy. We just I feel like Sarah, you and I, like whenever we were like available, one of us was available, the other person was not. It just, summer just was not a great time to
It'd be like that.
Yeah. So like I said, life happened. So hopefully we're back at it solid from here on out. This episode, we are joined by the lovely Lexi, or Con Mom Photography.
Yay!
This is your third time being on? Yeah.
Third time.
Yeah. She is a photographer from Toronto area. Ish. You went like this, and I was like, am I wrong?
I say Toronto-ish.
Okay.
Because that's where all Americans
Toronto-ish.
know Canadians is in Toronto.
That's fine. So yeah, happy to have you back on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so for those who are watching, I'm trying to stream this back on Facebook again. So if you're watching over there, head your butts on over to watch this on Twitch. That's definitely going to be the preferred way to watch this. The stream is higher quality on Twitch, and we're not going to be watching the chats on Facebook. Really, the goal for having it on Facebook is so that you come over and watch it on Twitch anyway. So like, just watch it on Twitch. But
Just watch on Twitch.
yeah, but the stream will be
Watch
there.
Easy.
I know Eric's saying forgot to submit. Don't worry, there will be more critiques. There will be plenty of more times to submit. So yeah, if you get your submissions in early so you can guarantee that it'll be in the next episode, since the next episode's probably going to happen sometime like in the next 2 weeks or something like that, 2-3 weeks. So if you just go to submissions.vontography.com, you can get your photo in now, so you don't have to worry about that. Don't have to think about it. It'll be just in. So but back on to you, Con Mom Photography. Let's hear a little bit about yourself. I'm sure the people that have watched episodes before kind of know who you are, but in case for the few people that don't know who you are, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you're from, and how long you've been shooting, all that kind of jazz?
Well, like you said, I'm Con Mom Photography, also known as Lexi. I'm a Canadian female cosplay photographer. I've been shooting for almost 6. It's gonna be 6 this March, I believe. Yeah, 6 years this March. That's it.
a beautiful summary.
I don't know what else.
So then let's just jump into the couple other questions I have for you here. Is what got you into shooting cosplay?
Well, I went to school for photography and videography, and I have a lot of friends that cosplay, and they were like, take pictures of me. And I'm like, okay.
I didn't know that you went to school for that. That's cool.
Yeah. I went to school 4 years ago. I graduated 4 years ago.
Don't talk about being old.
You baby.
Yeah, you babu.
I'm almost. I don't want to say home. Okay.
You're probably still
You're
significantly
fine.
younger than Sarah and I, so you
Yeah.
know.
Oh, 10,000%.
So like,
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah, you're fine. I easily got probably like 6 years on you, so.
That's okay.
Accurate. Oh my god. Parth, thank you for so much for those 100 bits. So what's one thing, Alex, that really gets you excited for during a cosplay shoot?
The location is usually something I get really like into. If the location is like amazing, I find that the photos I take are going to be like, it's going to reflect that. So I get really hyped on the location. But if the location's poop and it's the cosplay, like a dream cosplay of mine, like I really go to BC, to the mountains, and get a World of Warcraft armor, and that would be amazing. But yeah.
Awesome. What's one cosplay that you've always wanted to shoot but just haven't had the chance to yet? Whether it's you just haven't seen anyone who's made it, or just hasn't worked out.
Right now, is Given, the anime / manga. I really want to do like a
So
story.
pure.
Like I want to do like a story, like one of those story like photos or whatever. I've always wanted to do those, but I really want to shoot more Boku no Hero, but villains and like at a bar.
Oh, I like that.
Like really grungy and shit. And there's a bar in Toronto that I have my eyes on. So,
oh my god.
Is it getting? Oh no. Oh no,
Mallow's in chat.
Mallow's in chat. We're all doomed.
We're doomed.
Hi, Mallow.
Oh, I thought it said gamer girl princess 69.
That's what she's saying. She's saying her username is gamer girl princess
but 89.
69.
It's 89, not
whatever,
69.
89. I've been reading a lot of BL,
numbers,
okay?
Those numbers make a difference.
Whatever. We were just talking about boys love anyway. It's relevant.
That's all that's on my mind.
God damn it.
Oh my god, can we have a BL themed week?
Oh my god, please. Please. Oh my, I have so much.
It doesn't have to be explicit.
It's fine. Well, no shit. If it was explicit, it wouldn't work on Twitch.
BL.
Well, moving on to the next question.
Yeah, let's do it.
God damn it. Look at what I have to suffer. Alex, who do you look up to for inspiration? It can be either outside or inside the cosplay community.
This was actually a hard one, but as of late, it's hard not to look at all of my friends that post on Facebook or whatever, Instagram, cosplay or not, or like photos and stuff. I just get inspired from everyone just like posting stuff they love and their improvements and what they're learning. So like as of late, like I've been inspired by everyone to like improve my own work.
Yeah.
No one
so it's interesting because I feel like that perfectly leads into the next question, which is how have you gone about improving your own photography work? I think this is something that I think I can say this is I've noticed that your work just continues to improve and improve. And is this a conscious effort? Have you been spending time like thinking about like, okay, I really want to improve these aspects? Or is it something like just the more time you've put into it, this is just kind of a side effect of spending more and more time shooting?
It's kind of sorry.
You're fine.
Brain dead. No.
Same.
I always want to improve, like I find that you can never not learn something in photography and editing. There's always something you can improve on, something you can research.
Totally.
I've been trying really hard to up my flash game, my skin editing, my color grading. But it's as weird it is, like I ask Condad, because he's not in the cosplay community. He doesn't really know like he's learning himself, like Illustrator, whatever. I sent him photos on stuff that I'm stuck on. And then he tells me like just straight up like, oh, you should do this or you should try that. And like I find asking someone that's not into photography kind of refreshing. So I take his opinion like really.
Does he have a different artistic background or is he just kind of
He doesn't have one at all.
Okay.
Oh, that's good
Interesting.
though. I feel like that does help though,
Mhm.
just to get kind of like an outsider's perspective, because like we stare at this shit for way too long.
Totally.
Yeah, and like it's stuff that I'm struggling, like especially a photo I'm like struggling on. I'll ask him and be like what should I do? He'd be like, oh, you should. He has been taking not photography, editing. So like he's slowly learning, and he tries to he wants to learn frequency separation, blah blah blah. So like his opinion helps a lot. Like I ask like friends and stuff, but
I think it brings up a good point that like you don't necessarily need to be able to do the thing to have like a good understanding of the thing. Like
yeah,
totally.
Yeah,
you know, you have a good eye for something. You have a good eye for something.
Yeah.
Awesome. So is there any camera gear related items that you've been eyeing up or have been like, man, I really would love to upgrade to this or anything like that?
I really want the new Godox 200, the flashes.
Yeah, 280.
The brick ones.
Yeah.
I really, really want one because it was funny because I was shooting a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I don't know. Paul Hitler let me borrow his and nearly lost it. They're so good. They're so powerful and they're so much easier to carry than stupid Nikon speedlights.
Yeah, they're much more powerful than an average speedlight.
And I also need a new camera bag because I have too much shit.
Ain't that always the truth? On the flip side, is there any camera gear related purchase that you have regretted?
I seriously been thinking about this since you sent the questions. I have no idea.
Well, that's a good thing.
That's good. That means you've been financially responsible.
Yeah.
I mean, I try. I research a lot, a lot before I buy anything. But that, yeah, nothing.
Yeah. I definitely have some camera related purchases that I regret. Mostly flash related stuff. But it's beside the point. So Lexi, how do you go about coming up with a concept for a shoot or an individual photo, whether that's before the shoot or while you're at the shoot thinking about how you want to set up a photo?
Depends on the situation. But if it's like at a convention, let's say that's on location. I usually look up poses with the person that I'm shooting. And then, excuse me, depending on the costume or whatever, especially if it's like something I know, then I kind of just like get really excited and like think of poses on my own in my head. But typically I Google my poses beforehand and then, sorry, frog in my throat. But one thing I've really wanted to try doing for my next couple of shoots is doing mood boards and like finding the location, the colors that go with it, and certain like moods and feels of the costume to like plan it out better than just to have standard poses. Cause I want like the next thing I want to do is like have the photos flow than just have like 6 poses or whatever I give back. I want them to all like kind of go together.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Awesome. So totally outside of cosplay or photography, and I feel like you kind of dug into this a little bit, but what media have you been enjoying lately?
BL everything. If anyone knows Boku no Hero, Boku no Hero, Boku no Hero.
Oh man,
in
what
the
a
wrong way.
list.
In the wrong ways. Also Fire Emblem, Given, Boku no Hero.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, okay then. Kind of
I'm disgusting.
wrapping this
Me
up.
too,
This is
it's
kind of
fine.
previous question we've had on, but a little bit of twist on this is, what's one piece of a photography advice that you now know that you wish you could tell younger you about?
Oh.
You to not compare yourself to other people, which I still do, but I try to like twist it in my head to looking at other people and get inspiration from them instead of being like, oh my god, they're better than me, like I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of twisting it to make it more of a positive thing than a negative thing, to like help boost myself than to be like, oh, I should stop. But yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I was thinking about that question, and the normal question that we ask is, what would you give, piece of advice would you give to like other cosplayers or photographers or what have you? But I was thinking about it, and I almost like this question a little bit more, because like, man, what would you tell you? I think that opens the door for a lot of really interesting questions, or answers, I should say. Let's see. Okay, that wraps up all the questions that I had for you. So let's do a little bit kind of all the normal spiel that I do before we jump into the photos. So as always, if you have anyone that you'd like to see on the show, please let us know. I'm going to post a link to the guest suggestions in the chat. So that's a forum where you can fill out and let us know about who you'd like to see on. We're always looking for new people to have on. We're trying to reach out to more and more new people. That's easier said than done, and definitely not everyone works out. I've been trying to get some European photographers in for the show, but that's proven to be a difficult task, and the few that have gotten back to me are just like, yeah, you might think my written English is pretty good, but my spoken English is very bad. So they declined because of that. So we'll see. But if you have people that you want to have on, we won't know unless you let us know. So please check out that form and fill it out. Other things, if you're watching the stream, please critique the photos along with us. We'll try and bring your input in from the chat and kind of bring up your ideas and thoughts on the photos as well. It just, in general, makes the stream a lot more fun too if you guys are chatting along with us and discussing the photos. As always, donations and subs are greatly appreciated but never expected. If you end up enjoying the stream and what we have going on here, we would really love it if you could be able to either give a donation or a sub. And the spiel here is always, if you have Amazon Prime, that means you have Twitch Prime, which means you get one free sub per month to give to whatever streamer that you want. And for the love of God, if you don't, what is going on? Is there just chat going crazy here?
You know.
Is this Mallow? Can I blame Mallow for this? I feel like I should blame Mallow. I've not been looking at chat. As I was saying, if you have Amazon Prime, that means you have Twitch Prime, which gives you one free sub per month, every month, to give to whatever streamer that you want. That's essentially free money to give to whoever whatever streamer you want. And if you're not using it on us, which we would love, please at least use it somewhere. Don't let that money go to waste, because otherwise you're just giving it back to Jeff Bezos, and he don't need that shit. So please use it, for the love of God, use it if you have Amazon Prime. Last couple of things here. Want to preface this as always that we are not what we'd consider like professional photographers. Like, for the most part, us and Sarah and I and whoever we have on, we're hobbyists. Like, we're not, our words aren't law. Don't like take what we say in this critique as like it is 100% accurate. If you have a different opinion on us on a photo, that's fine. That's not a bad thing.
That's why it's called a critique.
Yeah.
Huh.
So yeah, don't take it like super serious. And it's okay to have a differing opinion. It's the biggest thing that I want to get across here. Yeah. I think that's it. Oh, and let me share the Flickr link. So I have all the photos that we're going to be talking about today in a Flickr album. That way you can open them and view them in full resolution along with us. I'll try and post every individual photo as we go into the chat. Sometimes I fall behind on that because it's a lot to manage, but hopefully I'll be able to keep that up. That way the colors can get a little warped on the stream, and then you're looking at it at a lower resolution with bitrate involved, so it's just easier to look at the photo in Flickr and really see it at full quality to get a better idea of what we're talking about. And with that, let's jump into the photos. Let's go on to this first image, which is from Archie. Sarah, do you want to start us off here?
Yeah. This is cool. I actually haven't seen a lot of like the more like the neon light aesthetic for the KDA League of Legends stuff. I think this is pretty cool, and I really want to know if the drawing behind her is real, or if they made it for the shoot. Because if so, that's a lot of work, and that's really cool that they did that. Yeah, I really like the colors for this. I think they did a really good job at like making sure that these neon colors pop, but without being like too obnoxious. Because I think sometimes with this kind of aesthetic, it has a tendency to be like a little too bright and like a little too saturated. But like on my screen, it looks really good. Maybe on other monitors, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I really
do like it.
I think it's real in the background too. I think this is all just back.
So now that I'm zooming in, I'm kind of confused because there's like a very harsh, like horizontal, like rectangle
Line.
for it.
Yeah, I think that piece of art must have just been like painted on a very specific like strip of something behind them. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell, but now that I see that line, I kind of wish they had like faded it out so it's not there, because now it kind of looks like it. I don't think it is superimposed, but now to me it looks superimposed because I've noticed that. Yeah, now I'm curious. But I think that being said, like if it was there or if it wasn't there, I kind of wish that just to make this like a little stronger. I mean, you couldn't really see the dragon's head, but I think you could still understand that it's a dragon. Is that I wish she was kind of somehow more integrated with the art. I think that would have been really cool. Because right now she kind of feels like she's just standing in front of it because it's there, not because it's there for like a reason per se. Which I guess you don't really have to with street art because you have to work with what you got, I guess. But if this is something that they made specifically for the shoot, I think just to like really like bring it home is that think about how your set is going to be interacting with the model for the finished photo, because I think that could have been really cool. Because right now it's kind of like it's just there. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I also think the framing's a little odd. Like the right hand is like so close to the edge. I kind of wish it wasn't. Like honestly, if she was centered, I think it would be a stronger image. So yeah, I think the cropping or the composition, whichever.
I think a lot to do, like just some subtle posing things could make this shot look a little bit better. The very weird thing that happened to me when I first looked at this photo is I interpreted the like white-ish inside of her jacket as her arm for a brief moment.
Oh, I can see that.
And that just looks a little weird to me. Like, I know that it's not, but since her entire arm is hidden behind it, I kind of feel like that just reads that way. That and just her entire body is square to the camera. Her shoulders are square to her hips, and they're facing directly towards the camera, which ideally you'd like to have a little bit of like turned to either the hips or the shoulders. And I think that would make the pose feel a little bit more dynamic. I think the other potential thing that you could do is, like, if you're stuck with this background being what it is, if you have a longer lens, back up and shoot this photo with a telephoto, because then you can get more. The background's going to be bigger compared to her, and you can get more of that background in the shot, and it just take up more of the frame. Because like the top of the image just kind of feels weird and empty and dead.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
a void.
Yeah, and ideally we'd like it something to be there. But yeah, any thoughts on this one?
So really it is to shoot for UV stuff. Because I've tried UV light photography and it's not easy, and like also like getting the subject super in focus is really hard.
I was gonna say it's probably hard to get them in focus.
It's really, really hard. So the fact that like her face is pretty sharp is really good. Like they got the the focus pretty good.
Oh yeah. You guys got any other thoughts on this one before we move on to the next shot?
Nope.
Awesome. Well, let's move on to that next shot. This next one is from Amanda Swanson Photography. And Lexi, do you want to start us off on this one?
Yeah. I've seen this like around Instagram a lot, like this character. I don't have no idea what it's from. What is it from?
Arcana something, I think. I've shot this character. Anything I can remember? No.
It's from the Arcana.
The Arcana. Okay. Is it a web comic?
I don't know, man. That's just what it says in the notes. I have no idea.
I tried.
I really like this photo. I love the colors. Like I like the character design and the way they're laid down. You typically don't see this kind of angle shot down. It's like she was like behind and shot, but the way it's framed, I really, really like it.
Yeah, it's such an interesting laying down shot because because it's flipped from how it would have actually been taken. So, you know, it's if you rotated it 180 degrees, that would have probably been what how it came out of camera. So that it just makes it for such an interesting shot. It kind of almost makes it feel like it's a traditional like top down angle where you're like the character's standing and you're shooting down, but it's not. They're actually laying down. I think it's really interesting.
I love the hand on the face. It's not like claw hand that you usually see, like the claw. But I like how it's very organic, and I just love the position. I just love the way the cosplayer is and the colors.
Yeah, no, I think the colors just are awesome in this shot. The kind of red, purple, blue theme going on here pops really strongly against that like gray wood floor.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good choice of shooting location.
Yeah.
I got a couple nitpicks on this shot though. One, I think the eyes just look a little bit too retouched for my taste.
They're a little borderline. What do we call it? Laser eyes or something?
Yeah, alien eyes, whatever you want to call it. And I also feel like I imagine what happened is you were bumping the saturation up fairly universally, and the skin saturation got bumped up. I think the skin just feels a little bit too saturated to me. I would have bumped that down just a tad. And then the other stuff that I have is fairly nitpicky. So this shot was, I want to look at what ISO this was taken at so I can know. It's a fairly grainy shot. Yeah, it's at 1600, but it almost looks grainier than a shot at 1600 would be. So I wonder if it was like the exposure was bumped a ton. So what I would warn on this is I feel like it was sharpened a lot, and the effect ended up sharpening the grain a ton. Let me screen share here so you guys can see what I'm talking about here, where you get like all this grain coming through, and you don't. It doesn't need to be this strong. You can play with your settings and sliders to make sure that your sharpening isn't being applied to the grain. But the area where I would watch out for is when you do retouching on the grain and then you kind of lose or fade out the grain pattern, it looks really weird. So like on the face here where this the grain pattern gets a little weird, like I feel like you lose a little bit of like what's going on in the nose there. It's just like little things like that that I would watch out for. There was another like bit by the leg that is getting a little funky over here. I don't really know what's going on there, but it looks a little weird, like some clone stamp stuff got a little funky, but that's pretty nitpicky, but something to watch for.
I'm not sure if like it was like she put a blur or something, but like in the right hand side by the cape, there's like sharp and then really blurry, like almost like a brush stroke, like on the side.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Because like it goes from like sharp and then blur and then kind of sharp again.
I wonder if she did like a fake blur and then
yeah.
masked it kind of odd. Yeah, I don't know.
Because because like on the cape, there's a little bit of like spillage, I guess, from a mask or something.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I want to touch on is the overlay on here. I have no idea what it is, but I dig it. Like
I dig it too. I don't know what it is either, but it's cool.
So sick.
Yeah, I have no freaking clue what that is, but it's dope.
It looks like glitter.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. I really like this photo overall, though.
Yeah, it's really sick.
Any other thoughts on this one before we move on to the next shot?
No.
Cool. Okay, let's move on to the next photo here. Oh, before we do, I want to say huge thank you to an anonymous gifter for that gift sub to Mallow. Oh yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. This next photo is from Devin, or I think they wanted to be referred to as DK. I believe that's what my notes said, but we'll see. Let me grab that link for you guys here. Oh my god, so many things I have to do. Okay, there we go. And so I really like the overall lighting in this shot. The like dodging and burning and just like the lighting overall. This cosplay just really pops. They just kind of jump off the background of this, and I really dig that look. I really just also like the color toning, kind of those deep cyan blues in the background.
So good.
Work really well with kind of the warm tans of the highlights. Just overall, it makes for a very pleasing photo. That I really just enjoy the look of. I also like the texture in the background. That the way it bokehs out just is kind of really interesting looking. It's just like, I think if it were sharper, I might not like it. Like, it might just look too normal, but it being slightly out of focus like this just makes that really interesting pattern. I think if it was like bokeh'd out even more, it would look like it would just kind of become a
Blob.
gross blur.
Yeah.
So
like, I like that we know that it's metal.
yeah,
That's cool. It works for Toga's character really well.
yeah, it's like just blurred enough to still be interesting without just looking like bokeh blur in the background and being like nothing. Yeah, I also really like how the upward angle works for this shot. I think it kind of works for the mood, gives kind of her like looking down and makes her eyes feel even more intense, which really works. Onto some nitpicky things. I think I saw Eric Jaw's comment in it, is that the angle of the background is something that bothers me a little bit. Like the lines just aren't like slightly skewed, so it makes the photo just feel slightly tilted to me.
I mean, that's an easy fix in post. They literally could just rotate the image a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that would fix all my problems with this. Yeah, so yeah. What else did I have about this one? I
want to talk about the dodging and burning again.
Okay. Go for it. I'll like leave my other,
because I feel like black clothing is so hard to photograph. Like, even if you have
especially a velvety black.
Like, yes, like the fact that you can tell that it's velvet and then there's just enough like highlights that it looks natural and not like very intentionally dodged and burned, I think is super impressive. Because let me tell you, I hate photographing black clothing, especially because it doesn't come through. It just doesn't translate very well sometimes. And I think they did a really good job at retouching their clothing to look as good as it does in this photo.
Totally. Yeah, that's something I didn't even consider, but now that I'm thinking about it, I totally agree.
It was like the first thing I noticed that I saw when I looked at this photo. I was like, holy crap. The fact that you can still tell like this is like a very smooth velvet like dress material. Like, I was like, damn, that's impressive.
Yeah.
The one.
Go ahead.
The one thing about dress though is little nitpicky is the collar. Because of the color grading, it's blue, and it being white. Like, I would have just like took a color layer brush and just brushed over it to make it look white instead of blue.
I'm not sure if that particularly bothers me. I see where you're coming from, but I'm not sure that.
That's
really
how
gets
I
me.
just get. That's how I feel about white.
I get it.
I don't mind it because the highlights are kind of like that cyan, like a very subtle cyan tint. So I think if it was if it was just kind of randomly, I probably wouldn't like it as much.
Yeah. Brainbeat Gaming says in the chat, and something I agree with, that kind of like that blob on the ground is something that I would love to see retouched out.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look particularly great there. Yeah. My mind kind of thinks that it's puke, but which is not great. So
oh my god.
That's what it just kind of looks like to me, and I'm like,
stop! I hate
it. That's why she's wearing a mask. She puked.
Okay, she's ill. No, the final thing that I wanted to touch on with this photo is the eyes, and this is something that I don't know. Maybe this doesn't bother other people, but it bothers me. Is when the eyes look drastically different from one eye to the other. Just, I don't know why the highlight hits differently from eye to eye, but it looks super weird to me. It
looks like those crazy anime contacts that I can't stand.
Yeah. So personally, what I do, and I'll screen share so that you guys can see what I'm talking about here with the eyes. What I like to do when it's in this situation is I take the eye that I prefer the look of and clone it onto the other eye. And when I say eye, I mean like the iris and the pupil, not like the entirety of the eye. I clone that onto the other eyeball, and it just makes it look a little bit more uniform. Right now, and maybe this works for Toga because she's a little bit of an insane character, but it just makes her look extra insane. So
True.
Take that for what it is. Yeah. I think that's all I had down for that one. Oh, I had one other thing. It's that her arm that is down, I wish there was just a little bit more bend in it. It just feels a little straight.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of bend in the elbow and just a little bit more bend in the wrist, I think would make it feel a little bit more
Especially for
natural.
Toga, who's so weird. Like her body language is bizarre. So like, do it up.
Get freaky.
She's freaky, so she's a lot.
Awesome. You guys got any other thoughts on this one before we move on to the next shot?
I love it.
I think it's dope. I think it's really sophisticated feeling. Like, it feels very editorial to me.
Yeah, I really like this
I
shot.
appreciate that a lot.
I have to look up the photographer after.
Let us move on to the next shot.
I was going to tell you what it is, but this name is so long and I can't pronounce it. So Devin Cuban or something. Yeah. Devin Cuban photography.
Yeah.
It's gonna look later.
Yeah.
Just saw a lot of letters and I was like, oh, my one brain cell can't even handle it right now.
Okay, so now let's move on to the next shot.
Oh, God.
This next one is from Dream Lifestyle Photography. Sarah, do you want to start us off on this one?
Yes. Although, can someone please tell me what this is from? Because I say this a lot, but I have no idea.
Dragon Age.
Okay, it's from Dragon Age. This outfit is just so bizarre the first time I saw it. Anyway, so I really like I've mentioned this like in pretty much all the previous streams, is that I'm really into like the whole like complementary color scheme for color grading. So this like purple and green or purpley yellow scheme I think is pretty cool. And I think that adding purples to the shadows helped tied everything together. So that's super nice. I think it might, again, I am looking at this on a Mac, but I feel like the colors are a bit too saturated for my liking, and they're a bit too bright, especially since it's kind of like this more like out of camera, like lime green, but like enhanced. It's a bit too much for me. I would tone it down like a tiny, like not a lot, but just like a tiny bit. It's just very bright. And I think with the vignette, it just feels more intense than usual.
Yeah.
But overall, I think it's a pretty image. Like the cosplayer looks really nice. The lighting's really nice. The colors are super interesting. One thing that really, really bothers me, I think this is maybe from like more of a cosplayer's perspective, is that I really wish he'd taken time to fix her shirt. Like, I know the shirt is kind of weird to begin with, but like one side is like laying really well and then the other side's like all twisted and caught up. So I kind of wish they'd taken time to fix that while they were shooting, since that's something you can't really fix it in post unless you want to like dye. Yeah.
I have a couple quick thoughts on this one. One, I kind of wish this was shot lower or something. It might be been a hill in the background, but man, cut grass almost never looks good. And you've got like field where the cosplayer's standing, like uncut grass, and then cut grass in the background. It just kind of like pulls you out of fantasy settings when you see cut grass, because like that's just not a thing that happens in like fantasy settings. Someone's not out mowing the lawn. I think it's just way too saturated in the background for me. I think it's just like the grass almost looks borderline toxic to me, which I think it just needs to be toned down saturation wise.
That's a way to put it.
Hey man, that's how I feel.
Oh my god.
Final thought here is I also feel like I really like her pose, but just with how the lighting fell on her face, her face ends up feeling a little flat. Like I feel like I lose her nose, and there's not like a lot of depth on her sides of her face and her cheekbones. I think this really could use some dodging and burning to pop the photo and really kind of give her more dimensionality to her face.
Yeah, because she definitely has like that contour on her cheeks. I can see the makeup, so. But I know that can be a slippery slope because sometimes I've like burned people's makeup and like it's too intense, blah blah blah. I'm like, oh, okay, fine.
Yeah. Cool. You guys ready to move on to the next shot?
Yeah.
So this next one is from Tyrannosaurus. Lexi, do you want to lead us off on this one? Is that
so
a no?
Pretty. No,
You're
it's
just
pretty.
like, I guess.
I'm looking at it like big. It's really pretty. And Angelmon. Angelmon's amazing. No, this I was gonna say this video.
We know what you mean. Maybe.
This photo is really pretty. I love the color grading on this. I love the.
Oh, excuse me.
One of those nights, guys.
I love the orange undertones and how it's like warm and the. Usually, when you see a lot of people that shoot with white, it's like blue. So it's nice to see that it's warm and inviting, and I like her pose a lot. I like how her arm is out of focus and the focus is on her eyes. A little thing I would think because of her wings, having her turn just a bit so you don't have to see the pipes.
Yes.
Because you can see the bolts and the skew and stuff. So like having her turn just a little bit would have been so that you wouldn't be able to see it. And having her a little bit more relaxed because you can tell her shoulders up by her chin. So
That's
just having
my
her
biggest
a little
complaint of this image is like I just want her to roll her shoulder back so
I was
much.
like, the pose actually for me in this photo is the weakest, one of the weaker points.
Yeah, you lose her back arm, her front shoulders like super up to her chin. Like, ooh, it's like just
had
feels
her,
like
Well, and then the arm reaching out is being like extremely foreshortened. You literally can't even see it.
Yeah. So having her twisted would.
I'm gonna wait. We should demonstrate because he's in the chat. Because I see people do this too much in photos when they reach out. Because like usually the cosplayer, when you're like reach out to me like you're like an idol or some shit, they're always like putting their hand like out like this. But then as you can see, you literally can't see my arm, right? So then I always go up and tell them to like bend it like this slightly. So then you can at least see now the rest of my arm. So this versus like this where you can't see, right? So it's always good to tell them to bend, even though like naturally you wouldn't do that, but like in a photo, like that's what looks good. And then this is an instance where I would tell her to rotate like just her upper body so that you can like, so instead of being like this, I'd be like, okay, now rotate your upper body towards me a little bit, just the upper part, so I can see like your shoulder. Because right now you can see my shoulder, now you can't. Yeah, now you can see it.
I also think turning her torso would help a lot with hiding the rigging for the wings.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, a bit of a bummer because like, you know, it is what it is with some cosplays. Like the wings have to attach somehow and they built it in. And it's hard because some poses don't quite work how you want them to just because the physical realities of the costume. But I think maybe if you had their torso turned a little bit towards you a bit more, you could hide it a bit more. One of the comments that they left was they were curious about like how they would, you know, maybe potentially Photoshop the rigging out of this photo. And man,
you don't.
That would be very difficult. There's a lot there that would be difficult to Photoshop out. And like your best bet is to work around what you already have. Like don't get yourself into very hard Photoshop situations if you don't have to. If you can just have them turn a little bit and then you don't have to worry about it. I would echo what you were saying, Lexi. The colors are really awesome in this shot. I really like them, and I also another big thing I like is the depth of this photo. The wings coming out of focus in the foreground, and then also being this falling out of focus in the background, I think is a really cool effect. I really like that. Yeah. Guys, got any other thoughts on this one before we move on to the next shot?
No.
Awesome. Okay. No. Let's move on to the next one then. This next one is from White Specs Photography. Let me grab that link for you guys in chat. Oop, there we go. And click that full screen button. So I really like the overall vibe that this photo is going for. The mood is awesome. It very much is kind of like invoking the feeling of a Renaissance painting,
yeah,
which is
I like it.
Super awesome. And just feels so interesting and unique. To that degree, I've got lots of thoughts about this photo, just purely based on kind of pushing it towards the kind of Renaissance painting feel. But I'll kind of get on those in a little bit. Yeah, so I think the dodging and burning on her face is super awesome. I really like it. I think the skin was maybe smoothed out a little bit too much. Kind of even lose like the ISO grain as well.
Yeah, I agree. Because the grain by like the glitter specs is really nice, actually. So I kind of wish it was there.
Yeah, I kind of feel like this is a perfect scenario to use frequency separation for, because then you can keep the texture and it just doesn't look over smoothed. I would love to see this just kind of pushed more towards that Renaissance feel. The colors could be played with a little bit more. I think like to do that, just literally look at paintings and kind of pluck where the shadow colors are coming from those, and kind of just play around with that in your photo and see how those are working. But overall, I just think maybe the photo is a bit too bright overall. Like the curtain in the top left corner feels like it's just too bright. Like the lower left hand corner of the dress just feels a bit too bright. I know we had been talking about this a little bit before stream, but I kind of wish that the curtain, like I think you can actually see at the very upper right hand corner of the image is just the tiniest bit of the other curtain. But I wish we had that other curtain coming in to kind of make the image feel a bit more balanced compositionally.
I would have cloned the one on the left to on the right, to be honest.
Same.
Like, I would have cheated so bad.
I would also have liked the curtains to be in focus, because like if it's emulating a painting, which is the feeling I get, the curtain in a painting would be in focus. So I would have just upped your f-stop a little bit more. I know this shot is using lights, so you can go ahead and up your f-stop without having to worry too much about losing light. Just bump up your speed lights.
It's at f4. It's pretty blurry for f4.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. That's probably would have been my natural instinct to shoot this at f4 and been like, f4, that's more than enough. Because I'm like always shooting at f2.8 or f1.4, and I'm like, f4, that's huge.
That's so high. But that's a lot for me. I would literally die.
But yeah, I would have gone to f8 probably, and really just kind of committed to putting in there. Mal brings in the gold spotlights that she's not feeling. I'm not even sure if they were added. I think they may have been there in the shot.
Yeah, because you can see kind of the gold on her.
They're definitely there, but they're definitely a little odd.
Yeah, they do feel a little weird. I think you could maybe play with like right now. I think they feel weird because they're not doing that much to the photo. I think maybe if you had them be more of an intense light coming from that upper right, it might feel better. I don't know. I'd have to see that in order to know if I actually like that or not. But as they are right now, they feel a little weird. I think the other thing that I think about this shot is, and this might just be like cosplay photographer feeling super weird about this. I feel like the impression is for the cosplayer to be like holding someone's head, and I just read it as a wig. I just feel like there's no depth to make it feel like there's a head underneath there, and I don't know whether that's on the cosplayer or the photographer, but man, it just feels like a holding onto a wig.
What?
I mean, not wrong.
What Ty said about the stray hairs, I was actually going to say, because like the background's so like there's nothing to it, it would have been so easy just to clone out like the stray hairs because the background is so dark. It's like all I'm staring at.
Yeah, I was gonna say like this is getting like super OCD, but if the intent was a Renaissance painting, which of course it's a painting, everything is pristine and how you want it. I feel like the retouching on this is in terms of like cleaning up the image is pretty weak. I see like the stray wig hairs on like the head that she's holding. There's like stray wig hairs like from like the model, and also like the crown piece. I don't know what you call it, but that gold thing sitting on her head. There's a lot of scuffs and marks I kind of wish that had been touched up. Like this almost feels like something you'd see like a product photographer take for like an ad campaign, like when it's like super super clean. I think that would also help get across that kind of like Renaissance painting feel, because like I said, because you're painting it, you can do whatever you want, and that's why they always feel so like clean looking. Also like the dust specks in the background. Also, I'm just being harsh because it's Eddie. And then there's like these like weird golden, like the golden trim is also kind of like all out of whack on the red curtain. I kind of wish those had been cleaned up as well. I don't know. I would have gone to town at cleaning this up because everything else is actually relatively really clean. It's just kind of like those things kind of like take down the photo a bit, in my opinion.
I think because it's very white too, and the background's so black that you notice just the small things. And it being in a studio, you kind of feel more inclined to be a little bit more nitpicky.
Yeah,
that's how I am with like studio shots.
Man, I think the biggest thing, like, it's such a solid base photo that there's so much, like, you can just like see how much potential is lying in this photo. I think that's why we've dug into the nitpicks so much. Because like there's a ton of potential in this shot, and I think this is one of the cooler shots I've seen from you, Eddie. It's really awesome, and I think just to spend a little bit more time in post, it would be really awesome, even more awesome, I should say. Any final thoughts on this one? Cool.
Great shot.
Well, before we head on our short break here, special shout out to Amaya Sings for those 100 bits. Thank you. We appreciate it. Everyone should go follow Amaya Sings because she's pretty neat, I guess. And for now, we're gonna take a short 5-minute break. We will be back in 5, and when we come back, I'm going to need you guys to help us out. We're going to be doing a Q&A time, so think of some questions that you'd like to ask us, because otherwise the Q&A is pretty lame if we don't have any questions to answer. So think of some good questions. Save them. Don't post them while we're gone, because I don't want to have to scroll up and figure out whoever is posting what. Just like save them for when we get back and then go crazy and post them. So we will see you guys in 5 minutes. Oh, hey, we're back. Hey, everybody. Thanks for waiting for us. And not too many people left.
We're eating junk food.
It's Q&A time, so let's get those Qs so we can give you some A's.
I need to go to bed.
We've officially killed the stream. And then Lexi choked on a Pop-Tart, and then
That was so bad.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Good. I'm glad. That was exactly what I was hoping for.
It was that spicy content. I'm kidding. I'm not talking shit.
I'm gonna talk shit. No.
Like I said, my one brain cell has no time for tea.
Okay. So, questions, folks. Give us your questions. We are ready to ask them. Bear Photo Buffalo asked to Alex, "Are those your Buffalo Pop-Tarts?" I can answer this one. Yes, they are her Buffalo Pop-Tarts. She was telling us about it during the break.
They're under my bed.
Parth, I'd like you to elaborate on this question, which is, what's the best suggestion for remote photography equipment? What do you mean by that?
What do you mean, like a remote?
Right? Yeah, I was gonna say, are you talking like remotely triggering your camera? Or are you talking like remote flashes? For self-photography. Self-photography. Personally,
use your phone.
Yeah, I was gonna say I use my phone. My camera has a Wi-Fi app that I just hook it up to, and then I can see like the direct readout of what's on my screen on my phone.
Same.
Well, I'm clueless, so I can't provide any kind of insight.
Yeah, so that's personally what I do. If your camera doesn't have a remote trigger, or doesn't have that built in, Pocket Wizards make a super easy solution for this, and probably your camera manufacturer also does this. So yeah, hopefully that answers that. Tyrannosaurus asks, what skates are you riding right now? I'm riding USD Carbon 2s still. I don't know if that's what you're looking for at all. Let's see here. Mallow asks, would you ever pursue creating your own lookbook, and what would the contents be?
Ooh, yes.
Ooh.
I want to do I would do a fashion lookbook, but it would be based around like my favorite fandom. So it wouldn't be focused on like one fandom. It would be like all of like my top 5 favorite ones or whatever. And I would have those characters wear like casual fashion outfits. You know, like when fan art people draw like really cool like streetwear for like, I don't know. So like the really big thing right now is Promare. So people are drawing like a lot of cool like streetwear outfits for the 2 main characters from that movie, and that's like super fucking cool. Because I think it's also interesting when they try to like have the clothes like match their actual like character. I would do that. I think that would be really, really fun, but that's just so much fucking work. Oh no, I kind of want to do it. Fuck, because Promare was so awesome. That's all I can think about.
Mallow, I think to answer your question, in a world with infinite time, I would absolutely do that. In this world where my time is so fleeting as it is, I just can't see myself managing to fit something in like that, even though I think it's a very cool idea.
Oh, I would also shoot a lot of BL.
I was about to say that. I want to do one of I kind of already have like a picture, but I found like Todoroki and Bakugo in streetwear, and I want to do like I'm gonna stop.
Telling you, BL fame next time. I'm telling you. Yes.
So I wouldn't call it a lookbook, Mello, but I did print off a book of kind of my favorite photos that I took from between 2015 and 2017. It was kind of a weird roundabout thing where when I bought a hard drive, and the hard drive came with like a free book that I could print off at Shutterfly, which isn't exactly a great printing company, but I got a free book to print out. So I was just like, Well, hell,
That's cool.
yeah, I guess I'm gonna do this. So I printed off a book of some of my work. It's not like the best book, and it's pretty cool though. Like I'm pretty happy that I did it. I'd like to do that, like update, do another version, kind of like now that it's been a couple years since then, and do it with some new work.
It'd be fun.
Yeah,
I've always wanted to do that.
it's very satisfying to just have like.
I bet, dude. There's just something about printed materials, even in this day and age, that's just so satisfying. Yeah.
Oh, I'm super excited. This is kind of off topic, but I have a snowboarding photo that I got published.
Oh, nice.
That's so cool.
One of the things that they were going to do with the printed piece, I didn't sell it for like a super large amount, relatively speaking, for its use case, because I just wanted to get that publish thing in there. But they're using it for advertisement stuff, and they're sending me one of the ad pieces. So I'm getting like, I don't know how tall it is. I think it's like a 12-foot tall print off of this photo.
That's
wow.
Because it's meant for like a storefront like window cling thing, so it's huge. So I'm having someone is gonna drop that off at my place, which reminds me I have to send them my address. But that's gonna be an awesome experience.
I found
getting printed.
A Demon Slayer fashion shoe. This is so
fuck
cute.
Yeah. Whoa,
how cute. Look at that.
Oh my god! Why is Inosuke wearing a shirt?
I know.
So, Grace 63194S, have you ever done a location shoot like a park or something with prop weapons? If so, how do you do so safely without getting arrested?
You contact the park first.
Yes.
I usually check with security. Also, just don't bring guns.
Yeah.
Like, don't bring
guns,
gun props. Like, that is a no.
Yeah, guns props are a no-no unless
swords or whatever.
Yeah. The only way that you're bringing a gun prop, in my mind, is if the gun prop is like so unrealistically a gun, like it's some weird sci-fi thing that doesn't look like a gun.
Let's not all think about like that saber that got called out on the beach.
Yes.
For carrying the fucking rifle. Just don't do it.
Yeah, it's
like, I don't care if it's accurate. Like, especially now with how things are, you don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, it's not worth it. Like if you're like going out into like a remote desert locate like to shoot
fine.
Like a Yoko or something in sand dunes, like whatever, that's fine. Like, but like understand your location. If you're going to a public beach, don't do it. So
yeah, I would just say it's probably like eat with any kind of weapon. It's just in general, it's just better not to. Just don't do it. Too much.
Tyrannosaurus asks, what's your stance on photogs or commenters who don't ask cosplayers before taking their photos?
The worst. You're scum. Go away.
Yeah.
Get out of my way. I will tell you to fuck off immediately.
If they're a random con goer, I will go out of the way to educate someone about that. Like, generally speaking, if they don't look like they're a creepy person and they kind of look like they're, fairly new to cons or something, I'll just go up and be like, hey, just ask them for a photo and you're gonna get a better result. And the other thing that I do is I call out creepy photogs when I see them do that.
Yeah, I'm like, I literally will shout, like, can you not?
Yeah.
Can you get your 7200 somewhere else? Thank you.
I love
You're not that great.
Even when they're not shooting at my shoot, if they're shooting like a random cosplayer across the hall, I'm like, yo, dude, go ask them or don't take the photo. Like
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
So,
but even with normies, I'm like, you wouldn't. I literally have told people, like normie people who are walking by, I'm like, you wouldn't want me taking a random photo of you without asking. It's the same thing. So I educate them too, because I'm just like, that's rude as fuck. I have zero tolerance for it, as you can tell.
Sorry, I'm just trying to cull through all these questions here. Areku Cosplay. Sorry if I butchered that name. Asked, I'm sure you get asked this a lot, but what is your staple lens that you feel most should have if they want to get into more serious with photography?
8.5.
I would answer this with two lenses: 50 millimeter or 85.
Same.
Just 8.5.
I spelled that wrong. Son of a bitch. No, I would say 50 before 85, just because I feel like the cheaper 50 lenses look better than the cheaper 85 lenses.
Well, this isn't the 50 millimeter. Like, that's what we see things at, correct?
Yeah, 50 millimeter is the closest to human like eyes, just in general. God, I'm so far back in chat looking through questions. Mallow had asked this kind of as a follow-up question, which I think is interesting. Does it bug you when bystanders watch you shoot at either at conventions or on location?
As long as they're not interrupting me or disrupting my process, I don't give a shit.
As long as the cosplayer is comfortable.
But if they're shooting and if they have a nice camera and they're shooting over my shoulder without permission, boy, are they getting an ass kicking from me, because I hate that shit.
Yeah, I generally don't care. Sometimes it can feel a little weird, but for the most part, I don't care. Especially at cons, like I'm kind of just like,
so
whatever.
busy.
Yeah,
it's gonna happen.
Bear Photo Buffalo had asked this question a little bit back, but I had missed it up until now, which is any tips for posing a character you're not familiar with?
Research.
Yeah, that's easily the easiest thing. Go on. It can be as easy as just go on Google and be like, enter character's name. Look at what
also,
poses
like,
are.
don't restrict yourself to official art. I use fan art a lot. I rely on fan art for poses because I feel like the concept art or like official art is kind of a little more restricting because they have to show like the entire outfit, or they gotta show the whole cast or the whole body or whatever. Whereas when like fan art people do things, they do it in a more creative way because they can. So I've been relying on fan art a lot for pose ideas.
And he had mentioned that sometimes he feels a little rude looking up poses on the phone while he's shooting. Honestly, it's just something you need to get over with. It's not rude. I do it all the time. The biggest thing that I think pulls out the rudeness is show the cosplayer the pose that you're looking up, because then it doesn't feel like you're just looking at your phone. You pull up a photo, show it to the cosplayer, and be like, "Hey, what do you think about doing this pose?" Like, and then you can kind of understand it better.
I also, like, depending on the character, I try to look up poses that are of like not specific poses. So say like you're shooting like a samurai, I'll look up like a samurai type character, then I'll look up like a samurai and see like a real person and see how they stand in real life, trying to translate, because like I know some people can't really like look at an anime photo and be like, how is that real life? So like kind of trying to find a human aspect of it can help as well.
I actually just did that recently for a shoot because I was like photographing like I was photographing the dancer Dimitri from Fire Emblem. I was literally looking at dance poses on my phone, like not from the game, but like real life. Yeah,
it helps.
It helps a lot.
Okay. YGK asked, do you have any resources you'd recommend for learning how to pose your subjects better?
I'm not good at that, actually, so...
That's the weakest area of my
I'm really bad at... I usually have to be like, is it okay if I, like, touch your head and, like, just like this?
I think that there's a fair amount of, like, decent tutorials on that, but I feel like most of them are not free things. So I would definitely look at kind of where the resources are there, and kind of what videos. Look at the photographers that you like outside of cosplay that are kind of like into the teacher section of it, that are producing like paid tutorials, and figure out which ones that you like their kind of how their models are looking the most, because chances are they're doing a lot of posing stuff, and they can help you guide you through that process.
Also, I think a lot that would help too is just to keep like practicing. Like, even if it's not just a photo shoot, just grab a friend and be like, "Hey, can I like practice posing on you?" And just use your phone and like looking at the way the human body looks at certain angles and stuff. It will help. I think for me, I'm a visual learner, so like I have to do it to understand it. So like repetition helps a lot, and just keep doing it.
The other thing that helps me a lot is doing the poses as well. Like,
yeah,
I will do the pose and try and emulate the pose that I want out of the cosplayer. One, it kind of like makes the pose a little less awkward if it is one, because I'm like, hey, look, I'm doing it. Like, it's really not that weird. Like, and then it helps them visualize a little bit more. So
also by doing it too, doing it on different body types will help so much, because we all know, like, if we look at poses, it's all going to be the same body type. If you're doing it on other different body types, then you know how to shoot certain body types, and you don't limit yourself to just one body type.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Tyrannosaurus asks, what's your stance on cosplayers asking to sell prints of your work? It seems hard to give them a reasonable flat rate or a certain percentage. How do you approach this?
So I feel like it varies on where they're selling. So if I'm giving print rights to someone who's selling in a store and their Patreon, I up the price, because obviously it's like in two different places. But recently I don't give a fuck, and my print rights just come with my shoots now, because honestly these people don't make a ton of money from prints unless you're someone like who has a huge fucking following and like that's like one of your main sources of income. Then yeah, doing a flat rate of some kind, but it's hard to determine. You're gonna have to figure that out yourself. I think it varies, but like when I'm just doing, like, now that I've been doing more booked shoots at cons, it's just included. Like, this is not a lot of money for them, so I'm not gonna like nickel and dime them for fucking cosplay photos, honestly.
So what I end up doing is, and this is probably a little bit weird and unusual, and I wouldn't recommend it for everyone, is I do a kind of like name your price / like pay what you think approach, which
that's dangerous.
Honestly, you say that, but I have never had like, it's not like I'm some random person on the internet like that they're paying. It's someone they've worked with and they know. I'm not worried about getting ripped off by someone. And like my main goal is like, hey, like I want to be compensated for the work. Like, you're going to be selling things, but like, man, you might not sell a single print of this. So just think about like what you're potentially going to go. And the other thing that I ask is like, hey, if you sell, pay me for this print and think that you're going to sell like 2 copies of this print, and then you end up selling like 50, just throw me a tip at some point. I know that's asking for a lot of faith in the cosplayer, but I don't know. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, I typically don't do the print thing. I've been thinking about it because a lot of people have been asking me for digital print store. So I'm just like, I'm in the midst of like redoing everything. So I don't know. It's hard.
Awesome. I feel like we got to most of the questions that I saw coming through. Sorry if I ended up missing any of your questions. I try to keep it to 15 minutes there. Otherwise, we could probably keep going on this for quite some time. So I'm going to cut that off here so we can roll back into the critique. But thank you everyone that asked a question. We really appreciate it. That section would be really boring if you guys didn't ask us questions. So yeah. Let's get back into the critique. Okay.
Oh my god, someone's car alarm is going off and it's driving me crazy. I hope you guys can't hear it.
Nah, they can't.
Okay, it's so obnoxious.
I was gonna say, it'd just be like having Neil on hearing fucking ambulance all the time.
I'd rather hear a car alarm than the ambulance going
That's
by. Neil, are you alive? Questionable.
Yeah, Parth asks, says we need another photog Q&A session. The Q&A sessions will be back as well. I don't know when we'll do the next one, but they're
definitely easier to do. So
yeah, they're significantly less work on my part. A little bit more work scheduling, but like way less work overall. So those will be back. There will be another one. Don't know when, but they will be back. Okay, let's move back into the critique. We're going to resume here on photo number 7. This one is from Stucky Media. Sarah, do you want to start us off on this one?
Yes. So I really like the clean editing in this. This is also something I'm like not good at. Like you give me a photo and I'm like color grading to hell and back. So I'm always really impressed by people who can kind of like keep it like nice and natural. So, and I think they did a really good job here. Also, the lighting is really nice because I'm going to assume this was taken at a convention, and sometimes even the natural light situations aren't great. But I think the cosplayer here is lit really well. The only thing is I kind of wish. I mean, again, I don't know where this was taken. I kind of wish it was taken in a different part of the wall though, because it's like super dirty in the background. I would have been a horrible person and cloned all the clean bricks onto the dirty bricks, but that's just me.
I think I know this wall. Stucky Media,
really?
if you're in chat, is this the ASEN parking garage brick wall? I think it is. I can't say that with like 100% certainty, but I think it is.
Oh, it's really funny that you can recognize this brick wall.
Yeah,
that's kind of weird.
Yeah, man.
Another thing is this is a lot of work, so I don't know how strong this person's retouching skills are, but I wish the face paint had be retouched. I actually didn't notice it at first because it was so light. But it looks like it's kind of worn off quite a bit. I'm going to assume this was taken maybe later in the day, as we know face paint does not, or any kind of body paint does not last that long. So I kind of wish that had been worked on like a little bit just to even it out so it doesn't look as patchy. Yeah. That's what I got so far.
I definitely wish that the background of the photo was a little darker as well. It just feels a bit too bright in the background. And darkening that I think would help the cosplayer pop off the image a little bit more. Excuse me.
I kind of wish the subject was just a little bit more closer, so the background was just a little bit more out of focus, so they could pop a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And like more space because they're just like the hammer's really close to the edge of the frame and her elbow too. And also what like Andrew always says that the subject's like straight on, like because her knees bent, but you can't really tell. So if she was just turned slight tilt.
Yeah,
a little bit.
That was the other thing that I was going to bring up is I feel like her torso, like her entire body is just so straight onto the camera. Her hips are straight onto the camera, shoulders are straight on the camera, knees are straight onto the camera. I think you need like a little bit, like maybe have her shoulders angled towards the mallet. I guess I'm calling it a mallet. Hammer, whatever we want to call it. Angle her shoulders a little bit that way, angle her hips a little bit that way, and I think that would make the pose feel a little bit more dynamic.
Being a little more nitpicky to clean up the ground because you can see a cigarette butt.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit, you're right. Yeah.
Other thing, I kind of wish that the framing was pulled back just a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little tight. I think.
the edges of the frame are just a little tight, and I wish there was just a bit more breathing room in the shot. It's not a big deal, but it's slight. You guys have any other thoughts on this one before we move on to the next shot?
No.
Cool.
No.
Let's move on to the next one then. This next one is from YGK Photos.
Oh my God, I thought it was gonna go on my screen, but
Spoopy.
Alex, do you want to start us off on this one?
yeah.
Munches. Yes, I will. I will talk about this photo after I munch.
I can't help it. I'm hungry. I'm a great guest.
You're fine.
This shot is very spoopy.
I like it. Kicking off those
Very
October vibes. Not October, but you know.
It's spoopy season.
It is spoopy season.
I really like the costume.
Wait a minute. How is Riley on here? Isn't she? She's on a plane right now.
Yeah, she said she could watch it on our flight.
What? Oh my God.
Oh man.
You must be bored to connect to Twitch on fucking airplane Wi-Fi. Damn! Sorry.
This costume's really cool. I have no idea what it is.
It is super cool.
I like the demonic, creepy vibe. I love the smoke, the lantern, everything. But I can't. The only really issue for me is the background and her. Like it.
I've got some thoughts on this one. If you're kind of.
It just doesn't. Like it's cool, but I feel like she's just blending in a little too much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like she needs to pop out more. Like, yeah. You go.
So, thoughts on this? I want to loop back real quick because I know the shoot location is really awesome. I know this was at Pixelmania, which I'm super freaking jealous you got to go to. So like, screw you. Screw you, Kai. I would have loved to have been able to get this. Really awesome. But to loop back on this, I think part of the problem that I have with this shot is the shadows on her feel so much darker than any of the shadows in the background, and that just feels very weird to my eyes. I think
this is a dumb question. Is this a real background?
Yeah, it's real.
Yeah, it doesn't look real.
That's part of the reason why I think it looks fake. Is because the
How
shadows.
do we know that it's real?
Because I mean, we don't know for a fact. I'm just trusting him telling us that he shot this at Pixelmania at an abandoned monastery in Poland means that he didn't Photoshop in the background.
Oh, is this from Pixelmania?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay. Never mind. It's real.
Yeah. But it does have a bit of that vibe, I think, just because the shadows kind of don't match up. The shadows are too light in the background. Like, I don't know how it ended up happening, but that is kind of what makes me feel that way.
I'd love to see the raw of this.
Yeah.
Me too.
I also think that the framing is a little bit off. I would like to see this pulled out just a little bit and then have her maybe a little lower in the frame or more centered or something. She just kind of feels a little too high in the frame. Any thoughts? From you guys, because I kind of went ham on this photo for a little bit.
It would have been really cool to see her.
It's a Felix. Welcome back from the dead.
Yes, Lexi.
It would have been cool to see her like in that like archway.
Yeah.
Like more like walking into like a room or whatever. A little bit more organic pose because she seems very like, hello, I'm here.
So I kind of went like I when I was looking at this shot, I was like, ooh, there's so much here that I really think has a ton of potential editing wise. That I kind of just went into Photoshop for like a hot second. I maybe spent like a couple minutes just playing around with this. Because like my biggest thing is I feel like the lamp is too dim. Like it doesn't feel like it's actually... I will screen share in just a second.
Okay, I gotta wait like 3 minutes for it to stop. And now
I'll screen share now. I felt like the lamp was a little bit too dim, and then it wasn't really casting any light on her, and then the background like that made the shadows match. So let me screen share this here. So this is what let's not make a selection. This is what I ended up doing like really quickly in Photoshop, is kind of made that the color, the brightness kind of match a little bit more and feel a bit more natural to the background with the shadows on her. Increase the redness on and kind of the brightness of the lamp, and then have that redness, the color kind of go onto her. That way it kind of, the lamp actually felt like it was natural and in the environment. Theoretically I'd maybe put a little bit of that red color on the ground as well, but you get the idea. So that's kind of where I went with it. And I think that's what I'm saying with this photo. I think there's a lot there, and I think just a little bit more in Photoshop
that's really nice.
Really pop this shot. Yeah, so I'm trying something new.
The lag is really long, you guys. It was like a minute later.
So that we can stream to Facebook. So it's like around like a 40-second delay. I think I timed it out, which kind of sucks, but I mean, it is what it is for right now. So yeah. So if Sarah wants to see what I'm looking at, she's gotta wait 40 seconds.
It took me a while too.
Yeah. Well, same for both of you in the stream. You too. Yeah. It's a really cool shot. Want to see more from this. It's really neat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's about good for this shot. You guys ready to move on to the next photo before this turns into Fire Emblem Three Houses Thirsty Hour? Because we're close. We're close to it being that.
It's so hot, I can't help it.
It's a problem.
It's a problem.
I haven't played a Fire Emblem game since a Game Boy Advanced one.
I don't know if you like them. They're extremely dumbed down.
That's okay.
I'm just not a big strategy game fan. It ain't my cup.
Oh, then you might like it, actually. They made it way more fun, in my opinion.
Well,
and more handsome.
The last one I played was for the GameCube.
I can't.
Was that the something Dawn, Radiant Dawn, or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I played Awakening, and it was way more fun.
Riley says Fire Emblem 3 Thirst Houses.
Wait, who said that?
That was Riley.
Hell yeah!
It's like I say something, and Sarah's just like, "Wait, who said that?" I'm like, "I just said who said it, Sarah."
Yes, Riley. Yes.
I'm sorry, everyone. We're distracted tonight.
Who's your favorite husband?
Claude, duh.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to the next shot. This next photo is from Avid Exposure. So I'm talking.
Which one are we on?
This one's number 9.
Oh,
9.
Avid Exposure.
This is nice.
Let me grab that link for you guys in the chat. Did I not grab the link for the last one? I don't know. I don't remember if I did or not. But point being, here it is. So the funny thing that I had, we're 9 photos in, and this is the first horizontal photo of the critique.
Oh my god, you're right. Wow, it's like us.
Yeah, I was just like,
I'm triggered.
I thought that was really funny. I'm just like, holy shit, no one is submitting horizontals. What the fuck is going on?
Horizontal sucks.
I need to shoot horizontal now. Only horizontal.
So I like a lot that's going on in this photo.
Is there a flash in this photo?
I think it's just setting sun.
Light.
I don't think,
because it looks like it. It's super cool.
Yeah, I don't think Aaron has any lights. I think that's just setting sun. I could be wrong, but
I don't know.
The toning of the shot's really cool. That very like late setting sun looks really awesome. Um, just the overall like framing too. I kind of wish there was a little bit more headroom on the top and bottom, but overall, I really am enjoying the framing of the shot. I also really like the pose. It feels very dynamic. The only problem I have with it is I kind of feel like you lose the back leg a little bit in the kind of drape of the cosplay. So I wish it kind of had been adjusted so that we could see her leg a bit more. But sorry, I just got to run. All you guys need to shoot horizontal more. It's not that hard. I swear to God.
It's so hard.
I swear to God.
It's really hard.
It's not hard at all. I
Yes,
shoot
it
about
is.
50%,
All my photos look
50%.
like shit.
Just need to like commit to it, and you'll find that it's
No.
not difficult.
It's hard.
It's not. It really isn't. I swear.
It's hard.
Just need to
All my
try.
horizontal photos are trash.
No,
I don't like mine either.
Yes, they look like shit.
I used to be that way in like 2012. So you guys,
Shit.
I believe in you guys. You can take horizontal.
Vertical
photos.
only.
God, Felix says everyone submit Dutch angles for the next one. God, no, kill me.
Shut up.
I would
No.
die.
That would be hilarious.
I would die.
Hell no.
That would be my-
April Fool's critique.
That would be my funeral.
That's a great idea.
Okay,
Submit your most troll photo.
Okay, back to this photo, damn it.
After BL.
That's no joke. That's your life.
So I really like the toning, kind of those like peachy colors with greens. I think maybe I'd like to see the cut grass colors played with a little bit more. They feel a little dead.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'd like to maybe see those colors played with a little bit more. But overall, I really like those colors on her.
What's that term? I think I had my understanding of crushed blacks is the reverse of what I actually think it means. But I feel like the shadows, like in the trees in the background, are too flat.
Yeah,
Or too dark or something.
They're
Like the
too
faded
flat.
look. Is
The faded look is maybe they're brought up just a bit too much.
a little too much for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think my biggest thing is maybe I wish they were a little bit darker than the shadows on the cosplayer, maybe, or a little bit brighter.
Yeah, I think that's why it's feeling a little flat
Yeah.
for me. It's because she's so nicely lit, so I kind of wished, I don't know, something.
I also wish that her face was just brightened a little bit more. I think because it probably would be better lit if it weren't for the kind of that like face cover piece. But because that's black, it just kind of makes her face feel a little bit too dark. So I'd probably just have gone in and post and brightened that area up a little bit.
Yeah, because the fabric is translucent, so that definitely would have been doable.
It would have been cool. Kind of like what Sarah did with her Dimitri. With if they had help to do more of like what do you call
A
it?
flip.
Yeah.
Cape toss thing.
Because she's definitely in, like, the dancer poses are like, even if they're static, they feel like they're in motion, just so to add that to, like, a static image is nice.
Yeah.
Especially because it is horizontal too.
Yeah, just to fill the space. I have to say, though, like, Nina did a really good job at posing her hands, or maybe Erin helped, but her hands look very nice.
I do think that the front arm is a bit too straight. I wish there was a little bit bent, but overall that's pretty nitpicky in this photo. It feels like since there's so much dynamic everywhere else, that it bothers me a little less. The other thing that I keep on coming back to with this photo is I think I wish that this was shot at a lower angle. This loops back to something I feel kind of in a previous photo is just cut grass just doesn't look very good in a lot of photos. So if you shoot lower, you get less cut grass in the photo, and then you can have her be more, like even more against that dramatic cloudy sky, which I think would be really cool. So I just wish that the framing was brought just like, so you're almost like sitting right, like the camera's sitting right on the grass. So yeah.
I feel like that's the common theme for this week. cut grass.
Cut grass.
It's kind of weird.
Mallow, people stop cutting your grass.
Stop
Fuck.
cutting your fucking grass. Oh my god. I didn't think that's what she actually wrote.
You guys got any other thoughts on this one before we move on to the next shot? The wheat. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Sarah, do you want to start us on this one?
Yeah. Okay. I really like the colors. No, my stupid brain was like, oh, I gotta wait like a minute to see it. Yeah, but that's really just on our side and not their side. Anyway. I really like the colors in this photo. I really struggle with warm toned photos. Like I just like it's something my brain like doesn't understand how to do it. So it's like another one of those things when I see it done well, I'm just like, oh my god, how do you do this? This looks so nice and warm. So I like the colors in this. I also think the lighting, because I think the original photo, I'm just gonna guess this based on like the background. I feel like the lighting was pretty overcast and pretty flat overall, because I can tell like a lot of dodging and burning was done on the cosplayers, which I really appreciate. But I think some dodging and burning could have been done in the background as well.
Pretty dang sure this was shot at CC.
It what?
I think this was shot at Classicon East.
Okay, then it was overcast. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lighting all weekend was pretty much that, which is great because it gives you a lot of leeway to kind of do whatever you want. But if you're gonna burn and dodge, or wow, that's weird, dodge and burn, the cosplayers also do it to the background. I think a lot of photographers forget about that, but you need to do the whole image, not just like the subjects. Because right now they look super retouched and the background was kind of like forgotten about. What else? Color-wise, like I said, I do like the warm tones, but I think maybe some of the blues from her cloak could have been incorporated a little more. Maybe some blues in the shadows or something. Because right now it sticks out. Like it's kind of, we have this complementary vibe, but it's not exactly like working like the purple and yellows from like the third photo.
Oh.
Bye.
Oh. Well, that's awkward. We lost Con Mom and now our screens are super weird. Whoopsie.
Oh no, does it look weird?
Oh yeah. You're Con Mom and
hell yeah, I'm trying to eat some Pop-Tart.
And the rest of the screens are just a funky mess at this point. Hopefully she'll reconnect here in a second and it'll be a little less weird, but you know what? We gotta live with what things are.
Yeah, so I think incorporating some blues into the shadows or something just to kind of like level everything out would be nice, because those blues and oranges are super nice.
Yeah. I think maybe like there's maybe still just a bit too much greens in the grass.
Very green yellow.
Yeah. So this is something that I would watch out for. God, why can't I think of the name of it right now? Essentially color variability. That's what I was looking for. Color variability.
Yes. Oh my god, that's a great way to put it.
So in the grass tone looks really uniform in color tone, and it makes it really look flat. So hey, welcome back. We missed you so much.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. So the grass feels very flat in color tone. It just kind of has this like yellowy green. I would be careful when editing this kind of stuff, and try and still have like, even if you're color changing, make sure that you don't change everything into the same color, because oftentimes that looks really weird, and sometimes it can look really awesome, but in most cases it does not. So
monochromatic can work, but you have to do a lot more work to make it work. I feel like, at least I feel like I have to. Maybe I'm just bad at it.
The reason I think of Mallow's editing, and she often has the greens feel very monochromatic, and it works very well in her photos. But I think that's something that is very hard to pull off. So I'd focus on having more color variability in the grass. So like have the, maybe what was kind of like a lighter yellow, maybe shift that more to a red, and have what is green and shift that to a yellow, so you still have like that color variability there. Other thing I want to touch on I love the vibe in this. I feel like the emotion here feels genuine, which is great for cosplay shoots. Most cosplayers are not actors or actresses, so oftentimes trying to kind of do this kind of shot might not work out super well, but I think it works pretty well here. I definitely like the connection that they have going on in the shot. Her look up at him is really good.
He's not looking at her though. I don't know if that
No.
was intentional.
Yeah. Okay, they're dating in real life, so it was easier. Okay, that probably makes sense. Yeah, that would help. I had one other thought on this, but it left my brain. Yeah, a couple other final thoughts on this for me. I feel like his face, the middle, like his nose feels oddly bright, but then the sides of his face feel like a little bit too dark. I kind of wish that his sides of his face were a little bit brighter to match. And I wish they were just a little bit more right in the frame. Like they're not quite centered and they're not quite to the right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I agree.
I'm just kind of like one or the other, like have them in the center. I wish they were just a little bit more right in the frame. That's kind of like his legs are kind of leading to the left. So I wish that the photo was a little bit more, or they were framed a little bit more to the right to balance that out. I think that would work well. Yeah. Any final thoughts on this one from you guys?
Great shot.
Lexi, thank you so much for your excellent insight during this photo. We couldn't have done it without you. Okay, let's move on to the next shot. So this next one is from Maho Maddie Photography.
Ooh.
I love this photo.
Alex, well, that's great since you're gonna start talking about it.
For one, Saber is waifu. So
Wait, this is
automatically,
fate
that's the
shit?
greatest thing about this photo.
I don't even know. Fuck. No one told me
Are
this
we,
was
on the,
fate.
are we on the wrong photo?
This is number. This
Wait,
should be a number
11. This is not Saber.
You skipped to 12. I was like, this doesn't.
Yeah,
I
like,
don't
this
know
is
what.
not Saber.
I was like,
not-
oh, Saber's so weird. No, go to number 11, not number
Oops,
12.
that one's great too. This one's very good too.
Whoopsies.
Is this Bungo Stray Dogs? Maho Maddie, you're in chat. I see you.
I don't know what it is. I liked first the cropping of this photo or whatever the dimensions are. I love how it's a longer photo.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
it
got
doesn't
that like
look like-
vertical 16
Oh,
by
yeah,
9.
you're right.
Yeah. Like there's more of the scene in the photo. I love the I love the color grading so much. This kind of reminds me of Mallow's like greens,
Yes.
which I love. I love how the cosplayer, your eyes go straight to the cosplayer, and I just love the lighting.
So this is something that was funny because you'd mentioned this earlier in the stream where you were talking about how you
I know what you're gonna bring up. I know exactly
you
what you're
wanted
gonna
the
bring up
whites
because I want it up
to be
too.
clear, to be really clean. And I think this kind of Alex gets in that like the whites are super clean in this shot.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why this like really pops for you.
Yeah, because I like it when the whites look like white. I don't know. It's just
Oh my god, I thought you were gonna bring up something else, but it involves the whites.
I know what I know what you're thinking, and yes, we'll get there. But I figured I'd save it a little bit.
The water.
No, it actually wasn't. We're not on the same page. Why don't you go ahead, Sarah?
Oh, so this is like a personal preference. I don't know why I don't like it here, but I don't like the color cast on the water too much. I think it's a little too cyan for me. I think just because like water is never gonna look like that. I kind of wish it was like toned down like a little bit because I think it would have added some nice contrast between like the cyans and the greens from like the foliage, and then to have the creek river to be a little more clear, because like the creek there is very clear, like the water is like crystal clear, has like no color. I think that's another problem, because like I know the context of this photo.
So I've got some thoughts
But
specifically.
like on just like the white parts of the water. Like I'm not saying like the whole thing. Oh, also it's like kind of pink actually and cyan. Maybe that's what's bothering me. I don't fucking know.
I think
I'm sorry. I'm not. No. This is not a very good critique.
So
I'm tired.
I think for me, when I look at this shot, I think there's a lot of interesting color grading stuff going on, but I think it's a case of like there's just too much color grading on and not enough focus. So like if I look at the cosplayer, we have whites, reds, and like gold yellows. We look at the background, we've got greens, blues, and oranges. I don't think anything that's on the cosplayer jives really with the background. So like maybe just a little bit of the hint of the yellows in the background with the cosplayer, but there's just like so many different colors going on in this photo that it kind of feel like if you brought more uniformity and really thought about your color palette and brought that together, I think this could work a lot better. There's just so much different color range in this shot that it kind of just feels a little messy. I like both of them kind of individually, separate from themselves, but I think like in context of having this cosplayer in this scene, the color palettes are a bit too different from one another. Like maybe if you tried to bring like, instead of like trying to bring the really cool colors in here, the blues, and focus more on the golden tones and emulating the golden tones that are in the cosplayer, that could potentially work.
It's funny because like my eyes seeing something kind of different, because I can't remember who the photographer is, but there's this photographer I follow on Instagram. They're not cosplay, they're like a editorial fashion photographer, but they do a lot of like this like cyan blue background, but then like the cosplayer, oh my god, the model is really warm toned, which is really cool because they like really pop from the background. And to me, the cosplayer in this photo looks a little cooler, so I kind of wish they were like a little warmer to bring out the orange leaves and stuff in this photo. I feel like that would look nice.
Yeah, I think like the other thing to me is like if you maybe played with the leaves and instead of having them orange, be kind of similar to like the red of like the flower petals on the cosplayer. That could work out really well too. I think that would look slick. Couple other minor thoughts on this. I really like the lighting on the cosplayer. It looks real nice. I mean, they just pop off this photo, and I really love how much they kind of pop out from the background of this shot. I personally really like the framing, but I wish it was just a little bit wider.
Agreed.
We got a little bit more background. Right now, her head is sitting pretty much in the exact center of the frame. I just wish her head was closer to the lower third of the frame instead of directly in the center. I think that would make the composition work for me just a little bit better. I think something that could maybe work really cool for this photo is if you kind of edited in like a hazy light fall off in the top of the photo.
Oh yeah,
I think that could really work well for this shot. Final thought.
It would be really fun to like color grade this photo though, like going off with the green and stuff. Because I'm thinking about like my sand photo and how I go from the green to like the more reddish tones. You can do a lot with this photo.
Yeah, there's a lot here to play with.
Yeah.
Final thought here is that for me, I wish there was some digital ironing that was going on here.
Yes, I was gonna bring that up too.
The cosplay is a little wrinkly, and I mean traveling with cosplay, and maybe you don't have a chance to steam or iron it in the room. Yeah, definitely would be a great candidate for some digital ironing. If you don't know how to do that, frequency separation is your friend. I have a tutorial on how to do that. Throwing
It has
that
saved
in the
my
chat.
ass and has upped my editing game. I mean, by upped, I mean sped up my editing game like tenfold. It's so
It
stupid.
helps so much. You can just make someone's cosplay look like you don't want to have to do it, but man, it can help so much sometimes when you're just like really smoothing out their cosplay. The comment, the iron in the room was so bad it barely worked. I'm sorry.
I always bring a travel steamer to cons.
Yeah, that's what I started doing. It's a game changer.
Oh my god,
ironing.
Sarah, did you see my Instagram story of Beth being cold, so she was using the steamer to warm herself up?
No, I missed it. Can you send it to me?
I'll see if I still have it on my phone. It was so funny. I looked.
You have to. It's in your archive.
Yeah, I looked over and I was just like, "Is she steaming like her clothing on her?" And
I'm
she's
surprised
like,
she didn't burn
I
herself.
know. She was just so cold. She just warming herself up by steaming herself.
Oh my god. When she told me that, I was like, I am not liable for any kind of burns you're about to get because you did not tell me that was gonna happen.
Oh my god. Oh, that was freaking hilarious. Okay. You guys got any final thoughts on this one?
I think that Maddie, I would re-edit this photo and see what you could do with the color grading, because I've done that with like some recent, well, not recent photos, like older photos, and really played with the colors and not to be afraid to go off on colors, because it's intimidating. But like once you play with the colors, I think this photo will be like even like
Yeah. I think there's a lot there to like, and I think some color grading, you can just push this over the top.
Yeah.
And if you do re-edit it, please just let us know. We'd love to see it.
Please, can you send it to us?
Yeah, a group shout out to anyone watching this. If you end up, if we critique your photo and you end up going back and re-edit stuff, we'd love to see you.
Please, because no one does it anymore, and it's sad.
It used to happen like early on in the critique streams, and then no one does it
you.
anymore. They're like, "You guys suck. We're not listening to you." I'm just kidding. Cool. Let's move on to the next and final shot of the critique.
Now we're on Saber. Not Bungo straight up.
When you were talking, I was just like, God, I guess I don't know shit about Saber.
I was like, I know I don't know anything about FGO, but damn.
Yeah, I'm just like, I guess I don't know. Damn. Okay. Okay, but this is actual Saber. Let me grab the link for everyone in chat before I start talking about this one. There y'all go. And then I can close this because I don't need to share any more links. Hell yeah. I really, really like the lighting in this photo.
So pretty.
Yeah, the kind of like just flare that's coming in just slightly from like the top left of the image just creates like a really lovely glow. And somehow like dappled lighting usually looks fairly harsh, but like even though there's like so much contrast in this shot, it doesn't feel harsh. The overall image just feels very soft still. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say this is an example of like contrast in a photo done extremely well.
Yeah, like it's a very contrasty photo, but like it still feels very
stunning.
soft to me. It's really cool. Yeah, and like, man, dappled lighting is very hard to work with, and like this just is like excellent. In terms
this is
of
like a weird comment, but I really like how the dress is laying. Like, and in the way that the light is hitting it, I don't know. It looks painterly almost to me.
Really are you talking about like the right side of it?
Yeah,
that's the blue side.
It's wet, I think.
Yeah, I like. So this is kind of a thing here. I really like the right side, the blue side there.
Yeah.
The left side, the white.
It's blown out.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
It's not
that's like my big.
Out,
That's like my only gripe with the photo, to be honest.
And honestly, the shape feels a little weird. Like I just don't know how it's draping there. It kind of gets me very confused as to how her legs are actually laying in this shot.
So they're kind of doing like the princess sit, like on a horse.
Yeah, but like because her dress kind of like is falling out in like almost this like diamond shape here, and her legs are going straight mostly straight through that dress. Like,
I think it also doesn't help that like the rock is also the same slope as the dress.
Yeah.
So it's like very harsh, but like also I don't know. Oh, it's definitely not a hoop skirt. Never mind, because she wouldn't have been able to lay the blue like that. So I don't fucking know.
I don't know. It just kind of like comes out weird there, and
yeah, it's a little odd.
Yeah,
there.
I just wish it was draped a little bit better on that side, because it's draped excellently on one side, and then I feel like it's draped a little awkwardly on the other side.
Yeah, even if the dress had been cut off by the rock, like I would not have been offended by that either.
No. So something I really love that's this minor detail is I love how that rock in the bottom left is reflecting the white of the dress. I don't know, just something about that just like I really, really enjoy. Like, that's really cool. The blue in this shot also just pops. This is another like kind of case of like color grading that feels really clean and natural, but just really good. Like it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm trying to create like a specific mood. It's more like I'm just gonna try and create this very natural looking tones that are the real to the environment, and it just really works here, and I really enjoy it. Probably my only other gripe about this photo is the composition. I wish this shot was just a little wider, and that she was living maybe in the lower right hand side of the image.
Ooh.
I just feel like having her like mostly centered, if not like a little bit to the left of the frame, feels a little bit off to me. With her body kind of like has kind of movement to the left, so I want her to be in the right. And then you got that tree that has this nice vertical line there, and I'd like to see maybe a little bit more height in that, and just kind of bring her into the lower left of the frame. I think could work really well. Yeah, I kind of did a crop on my screen of kind of like having her a little bit more centered in the frame. I'll screen share it here.
Cool. See you in 30 minutes.
Sorry, Sarah. I really
actually I don't mind it. The crop.
I think like ideally I'd like this wider so that you could kind of like have this her live in the lower left, but I think cropping this in a little bit more, given with how you took it, I think this feels a little bit better to me personally. But I'll wait till you guys can actually see that. 10 hours later.
So I'm cheating and looking at their Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
The before to after. Oh.
Is their Instagram literally Alexis Cameron photo?
Yeah, like they did amazing job coloring this photo.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking that would happen.
I had to
is
look.
that like
Oh yeah, that's super nice.
Like the original image is really, really, really flat. And like they brought out so many nice colors.
Oh, that warm edition is so nice.
Like
they brought out all those details in the top too.
Yeah,
this is
like
nice.
I suck at warm photos, but they did like.
Let me attempt to screen share this for everyone.
So common theme: we all suck at horizontal, and we all suck at photos. We're a great team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Damn, this saber was like getting up in this river. Damn.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's about all I had on this photo. Guys, got any final thoughts on this one?
Great shot.
Yeah.
It's
keep
pretty.
up the color grading.
Color's
keep
awesome.
Doing warm tones because
it looks like a painting. I'm shook. Like it's so beautiful. Like it's such a beautiful saber shot. Like, and it's different. Like I think in this oversaturation of Fate cosplays and photography, like this is so pretty. I love it.
It's not your typical like Fate shot.
No, it's beautiful. It really, it really captures a side of Saber we don't really see a lot. I feel like in cosplay photography because it's all about waifu, waifu, waifu. But whatever.
Yeah. Cool. With that, I think it's time to wrap up the critique for the night. Let's hit that button and then bring this back up, and cool. First off, thank you so much, Con Mom Photography, for being on tonight. It's a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure as always having you here critiquing along with us. We will absolutely have you back on again. We just gotta wait because I don't want to just constantly have Alex on. It's hard because there's definitely guests that we just would love to have back all the time, but we try to mix it up for you guys and have different guests on. But there are definitely people that we'd like to have back on. But we're trying to keep it so that you have new people to get different insight all the time. So easier said than done, though, for sure. So, Lexi, where can people follow you and keep up with your work?
Con Mom Photography on Instagram. I'm always on Instagram, and Con Mom Photo on Twitter because Twitter's great, and I'm over Facebook. So
Facebook sucks ass.
Instagram and Twitter. And sorry if I talk about my husbandos on Twitter and Instagram. Yeah, it's everywhere.
I'm literally just like, don't follow me on Twitter.
So I got another Twitter for that.
Yeah, that's so much work. I'm not doing that.
Sarah, where can people keep up with you?
Mainly on Instagram. Do not follow me on Twitter.
Okay, you heard it here first. Don't follow her on Twitter. And you can keep up with me on Facebook or Instagram. I do not use Twitter at all, so you can't even find me on Twitter.
You should use Twitter. It's a cesspool of knowledge. And by knowledge, I mean shit.
You're really selling it hard for me there.
It's so great, though.
Yeah.
Look at all this great fan art.
Bear Photo Buffalo says, so much BL on her Twitter.
Well, that's your problem. You can just unfollow me, but you're not, so I'm not responsible for what you see.
No, he's talking about mine.
Oh. Or, you know what?
Oh my god, give me your BL Twitter.
I don't know if you want to know, Sarah.
Why?
Oh, Lord.
So, please share it with me.
So
it's
dude, just do it.
Fuck, we're just going downhill.
Dude, I'm such a Fujo.
It's a dark place.
Well,
this Twitter is dark.
Well, where do you guys have any upcoming cons they're going to, Lexi? I know you're going to MagFest.
Yes. I'm so excited. I haven't been to a US con in 2 years.
Oh, dang.
Since Katsu 2018, 17?
Yeah, that would be the last time I saw you. So
yeah. So I'm very excited for Mag. I'm going to be there, I think, the Wednesday to Monday.
Dang. Nice.
Gonna make it a thing. But there's like small Canadian cons that are garbo, so who cares about them?
Okay, well. Sarah, how about you?
My next con is Anime USA in DC. I'm actually opening bookings soon because fuck, that con's in a month. Yeah. And then after that is MagFest.
So Sarah, the people have been asking, can they book you for KatsuCon?
Hell no. Yo, you send me a DM about KatsuCon, I ignore you immediately.
Just for the heads up, everyone, Sarah is not booking for KatsuCon.
Please stop asking me months in advance. I'm literally like, I don't even know what I'm tomorrow. You know, I know what I'm doing for KatsuCon? No. No. Too early.
And my next con will be also MagFest. So all three of us will be at MagFest, which will be awesome. I will maybe stop by. Oh God, Lexi, no.
I'm sorry.
Just posted a link in our private chat. I'm not clicking that link. That's all I'm saying. So as I'm trying, I may show up at Dice Show.
Oh hell yeah! I'm looking at this right now.
Oh God, There may be a brief stop by from me at DaishoCon, but I probably will not be doing any photos there.
It's protected.
Don't worry. It's protected for a reason.
This is a time, guys. This is a time.
I'm gonna unfollow though, probably like almost immediately. Can't look at the so I don't want that showing up in my feed.
Well, before this thing,
protected so other people can't see it.
Yeah, but if I'm browsing on my screen, they can see it.
True.
How can they see it, Sarah? That's not how that works.
Because I'm browsing on my computer, where I'm allowed to see it. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, you lost me, but that's fine. So before this stream just goes crashing and totally down,
it's already crashed.
Yeah, it's
ball
done.
of fire. So next critique, don't have a for sure date, but probably going to be in 2 weeks. Just working out the kinks there. But we should be back on track for doing this about every other week. The date has officially moved to Tuesdays from Thursdays, and probably will be that for the foreseeable future. Maybe Wednesdays if we have to, but probably Tuesdays. I'm going back to school and I have Thursday night classes, so Thursdays are totally out of the question for this semester. So, oh well. I want to thank everyone who is here critiquing along with us in the chat. Thank you guys for bringing your thoughts and comments up as we went along. We super appreciate it. It makes things way more fun, and we love having you here. And as always, if you enjoyed the stream, please consider either sharing the stream, which helps a ton, just getting the word out and getting more people submitting. That means a lot. If you don't have the means to financially support us, which we do not expect by any means, if you could just share it, whether it's just sharing it on Facebook or telling a friend. If you have cosplay photographers that are looking to improve, just let them know about the stream. Or if you just think someone would enjoy watching, let them know about it. That goes a long way. I want to, while I'm still thinking about it, I want to give a huge thank you to everyone who came up to me at ColossalCon East and said that they watched the stream and enjoyed it. That meant a heck of a lot to me, to know that you guys are watching and appreciating it. Thank you so much to everyone who did. It truly meant a lot to me. So thank you guys. And yeah, if you guys are enjoying the stream and you're learning or whatever and have the means to kick in something financially, donations and subscriptions are greatly appreciated. They're not expected by any means, but we do appreciate them. And my usual spiel, if you have Amazon Prime, that means you have Twitch Prime, which gives you 1 free sub per month to give to whatever streamer on Twitch that you want. Good Lord, if you're not using that, use it. If not here, please somewhere on Twitch. Don't let that money just disappear. If you have Amazon Prime, please, for the love of God, use it. If you've been given a gift sub, it's also September right now, which means that you can renew a gift sub for, I think, half price, I think it is. So if you've been gifted a sub at any point during the stream here, you can renew that sub for half price, which is a great way to continue your sub, help us out, and you don't have to even spend nearly as much money. So that is also super awesome. Yeah, and I think that's everything from us. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Con Mom, for being on. Thank you, Sarah, for always doing this with me. And as always, think about what you put out in the world. Make it a better place. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.